Welcome, students. Today we're going to be learning about different types of supports. We have studied Café Squid already, and we have reviewed different persuasive techniques in your yellow notes. We're going to be talking about weak supports today and the three different types and how those are not as good as your strong supports. So as we read today, the two stories, What Video Games Can Teach Us and The Violent Side of Video Games, you're going to be looking for different types of supports, including weak supports and strong supports. So I'm just looking at the first story here, and it's called What Video Games Can Teach Us. And it says, here's some news for you to share with your parents and teachers. Video games might actually be good for you. So it looks like the author's claim is probably something to do with, maybe video games do have something to offer. Teach, right, is used there like we're learning something from video games. So I'm looking at kind of the author's claim, I'm looking at my text features as I'm reading. Whenever a wave of teenage violence strikes, movies, TV, or video games often take the heat. Some adults assume that movies, TV, and video games are a bad influence on kids, and they blame these media for causing various problems. A variety of studies appear to support the link between media violence and bad behavior among kids. But media don't necessarily cause violence, says James Gee. Gee is an education professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Okay, so I noticed some support here in the second paragraph, in this sentence specifically that begins in line 9 and 10. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and write that down. It sounds like strong support to me because it's Café Squid. And what is Café Squid about that is that it is a quote from a famous person who is an education professor. And that to me says that this person is an expert, he's knowledgeable about the topic, and we should trust him, we should take his word. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down on strong supports. So I'm writing a direct quote. I'm going to include my quotation marks here. But media don't necessarily cause violence. Says James Gee, professor, and I'm just going to kind of leave it off there with the ... which of course means that it continues, but I'm just writing the part of that, that's important to my, my quote. Okay, so as I continue reading, I'm looking for strong supports and weak supports, which we talked about the three different types of those today in your notes. You're going to be using your notes on Café Squid as well as the weak supports to complete the chart. Make sure that you have at least 2 examples for each strong support, weak support on each story. 2 examples per story.